Turn my phone on.
Well, welcome into a very exciting episode of The Scene. I am your host, Bubba Startz, and with me today is Dana Wohlwend. She is the owner of Sioux Falls Food Tours. Welcome to the show, Dana.
Thanks a lot.
Well, exciting. I know you're approaching a big anniversary, 6 years of the food tours. Before we get into everything you got happening here coming up, let's dive in a little bit and get the origin story. So tell us a little bit about yourself and your journey.
Well, Sioux Falls Food Tours actually hit its 8-year anniversary. I started as a tour guide. So I entered or answered an ad that said, "Do you like to eat and drink and talk to people?" And I said, "Well, of course, that's me." Um, and so I became a tour guide. Jenna Chaplin owned the Sioux Falls Food Tours before I came in as a tour guide. And then her other endeavors got busy, and she decided that she was going to shut it down. She didn't have time for it, or we made a deal and I bought the business from her.
Well, how exciting. I'm sure when you answered that ad, you didn't see yourself here 6 years later.
No, probably not.
So why don't you take us from there? Explain as the responsibilities of the tour guide first, and then we'll work into, all the rest of the responsibilities of owning said company later.
Well, the business had primarily been private parties at that time because Jenna had a large network of people who would say, "Hey, Jenna, just take us out, set up something really fun for us." And that's what she would do. So when I took over the business, my friends were stay-at-home moms or, not the kind of people that would just say, "Hey, we're going to give you some money and you make all the plans for us necessarily." So it took a while for us to figure out how to get from that into something that's more public oriented. Like anyone can come on a food tour now. We have them all every week. Um, and so I tried different things. I'm like, oh, is it going to be a Friday night drink tour, or is it going to be a Saturday afternoon food tour, or a Sunday brewery tour? My most popular one was Saturday afternoons for food. And so then, and I took the business over in February of 19, or yeah, 19. And by August of 19, I told my husband, I said, I'm going to have to work every Saturday because it was kind of hit and miss on the calendar. And if you don't have that consistency, people look at it. It's not the time they're going to be in town. They forget to come back to your website. So we started consistency and things started to build, and then we got hit with COVID. So we were shut down from March to September. um, and then opened back up, and went really, really well when we opened up. Thought it might be slow, but people were so ready to be out. I had a lot of people from Minnesota and Iowa, which their restaurants were totally closed down, so they were very excited.
They just wanted to eat somewhere.
They did. They wanted to be out among people eating. Um, and so it's just slowly grown. We've done a best bar food tour on a Thursday night and a Friday afternoon cocktail tour. We tried that for a year, but the numbers weren't there to make that a consistent schedule yet. So, uh, as a tour guide, it's my job to figure out um, what you're going to be interested in, to provide a curated menu, to provide historic talking points along that route. And then just to make it a very comfortable atmosphere for people to have a good time with.
So are you calling ahead to some of these places and letting them know, hey, we're coming in with a group and this is kind of our itinerary and doing a lot of that pre-planning?
Absolutely. They know we're coming in, they know what we're ordering, they know what time we're going to be in. We just shifted our model for the last 5 years. In this brand new year, we're shifting from going to 4 to 5 food stops to 7 to 9. So timing's very important and that things are ready when we walk in, we try something and we might not even sit down at the place. We used to sit down everywhere we went, and now it's like, well, we're going to come in, we're going to have a bite to eat, and then we're going to move on to the next place.
Get the tapas ready.
Yep, we're just going. I've run two, so we started those in February here, and so they've actually gone really well. And with my experience, I know how long it's going to take, and I can get that planned pretty accurately.
So when you started, was it still mostly the private parties? As you said, Jenna was more into that. Was it you just kind of going out and being her when she wasn't available? Or did you kind of come in and have to plan your own thing right from the jump?
Well, as a tour guide, she would plan them out and then I would run them. So she'd say, here's the group. Um, Here's where I want you to take them. I want you to take 3 hours. This is what you're going to order. And she would call ahead and have that stuff, have at least let the business owners know where we're coming.
And you just have to show up and have fun then.
Yeah, as a tour guide, I'm like, I'll just do what it says here on the sheet and I can just go out and eat and I get to talk to people. I do have other people that help me every once in a while, and we do eat on our tours. So the tour guides are encouraged to eat with the customers because that creates a whole different vibe. I've been on food tours where the guide just steps aside and they don't eat with the customer. That's not they don't get to eat with the customer.
Well, and you touched on it. It's a lot different vibe. It doesn't feel as much like a community, right? As when the
Right.
tour guide is in the experience with you. So,
Yep. So it's very important that we're sitting down, conversing, eating, sharing a meal, because that sharing a meal across any genre, any age group, any ethnicity, that's what creates the connection.
breaking bread.
Yep.
I lived in Mexico for a year, Dana. They won't let you enter the house without putting food in front of you.
My son's mother-in-law is from Mexico, so yes, I have that experience often. Like, oh,
Uh,
here you are, let's eat.
come, come. Oh man. Well, that is fantastic. What a cool thing to kind of fall into. And then a few years later, you're kind of running things. So was it still Jenna's operation through COVID? And then kind of after that, or that was it had just you had just taken over essentially, right?
I had taken over in February of 19.
Well,
And so and it was real hit and miss. Like I said, I was trying to hone in on the one thing to at least start with. And so August of 19 is where that honing in got to. We're going to do this every Saturday. We're going to have it on the calendar. Someone's in town, it's available. Um, so yeah, August 19 to March of 2020. So those 7 months, we're
right. You
just
finally
building
get to,
that.
yeah, you finally feel like, hey, you know what? We got something here. We kind of know what's going on. And then you're shut down for 7 months and having to come back. Did you kind of stick to the playbook that you had developed before COVID? Coming back, then it was kind of, hey, we know we're going to do Saturdays. We're going to be running this, and then have just continued to build on that.
Yes. So I followed Jenna's kind of guidelines, which was the 4 to 5 stops, and the Saturdays I had built in. And honestly, a lot of the thing is we also want to be respectful of the restaurants and their availability. We do not want to hit them at 11, 12 on a Saturday afternoon. They are packed. We want to come in between 1 and 4 when it's their downtime. So not only is it providing a better experience for our customers, but it's providing a better experience for our vendors.
Which will keep them wanting you to come back. So
Yep.
a great business plan there, especially when you're completely reliant on these restaurants for you to even have a business, right? I mean, you're not cooking
Correct.
any of the food, so you need them, and not pissing anyone off is a big part of the playbook.
Absolutely.
Well, that is so fun. Well, what kind of tours do you offer now? Let's bring it up to current. You still have every Saturday going, and are there more tours now that you're doing besides just the Saturdays?
Right now, Saturdays is what we have scheduled, but we do private tours anytime. So that best bar food tour, if you want to go on a Thursday night and find some of the best bar food in town, we'll take you out and do that. If you want to do a drink tour, a brewery tour, a pizza tour, um, we can work with whatever that is. So what I did was drop the Thursday night best bar food tour and this Friday afternoon cocktail tasting tour just to open it up for more of those private parties. So we do a lot of those. Um,
So instead of having a sign up and you can come to this open to the public, you've moved those tours to more of a private call us ahead of time if you want to schedule that in, which
yep,
kind
that
of for
time
those
frame.
tours, right, it makes a little bit more sense as well anyway, especially the bar tour. People might be, a little inebriated by the end of that one. So you definitely want to be careful with the
I'm
clientele.
driving, I'm sober.
Thank goodness. Well, and then you have like the pedal pushers and the different biking things around town. You can always just throw them on there and let them work it off a little bit.
Well, people say that, but I am really more about experiencing the food with a little drink to supplement rather than experiencing the drink and throwing some food in.
Right. Well, and staying food focused is the big deal, and so many options out there as well. Is it hard to narrow in? Now, is each tour like when you have the bar tour, is it the same places that you're going to every time? Or are people able to go like, well, we prefer more of an Irish bar compared to a bar and grill, or they can kind of mix and match maybe some places or a vibe that they're going for?
Well, that's the beauty of it being private. It can be designed for whatever your group would like to try. Some groups are like, we want to just leave it to you. We'll go with what you have. And I have some of my favorites. But if they have a vibe they want, we can certainly make that happen.
Well, and I'm sure your database just in your head alone of restaurants and places, the bars and everything too, that you can pretty easily curate an afternoon or an evening right off the top of your head for the most part, I would assume.
Pretty easily, yeah. So, like our Saturday tours, we have four different routes. So depending on the week of the month it is, that's a different route.
Oh,
And
awesome. So you could go every week and you would be seeing a different tour throughout the month.
so if you went for all 4 weeks in a month, you would hit over 40 places in Sioux Falls just on a Saturday afternoon walking downtown.
Incredible. What a fun deal. We're big foodies. My wife and I don't drink anymore, but still love to go out and enjoy food anywhere that I can. My problem is that when I find something that I like, for me especially, I work downtown in Sioux Falls when I'm there. You know that I live in Tyndall. We talked about the bakery a little bit down here,
Yep.
and I think we'll address that again before I let you go, but that I stick to the places that I know, right? I'm up there. I'm limited time. For me, I'm going to see Debbie at the Blarney Stone, right? Like that's my
Yeah.
spot. So when I go with my wife on a weekend, then it's hard for me to want to branch out. I'm like, I know this place has what I like. I know you're going to find something that you like, but we very rarely find ourselves wanting to branch out. Usually it just starts a fight because nobody wants to make the decision to do it.
True.
So I think it's a great thing that you're doing to kind of open people's borders up a little bit, right? Expand the horizons, and not that and so nice to do it in a public fashion, right? You're out, you're meeting new
Yep.
friends, you are, experiencing this with other people. You're able to maybe try a few more dishes than you would if you were just sitting down and ordering two meals. When you show up at a place, do they kind of have it where it's almost buffet style and you have some different options for people to try, appetizers or things like that, or what is
Nope.
it like?
I decide the menu.
You
Everybody eats the
decide the
same
menu.
thing. So we
Everybody,
walk
okay,
in, we know what
awesome.
we're having.
Awesome. Awesome. But you're trying also, nine different things along the
Yeah.
route as well. So, well, how awesome. While we're talking, you've been talking about doing some tours outside of Sioux Falls now. I don't know if you care to divulge any of that, but you asked me for some recommendations on what there is in Tyndall. And of course, we have our famous bakery here, the best bakery rolls on the planet. I would challenge anyone to that. Um, but what does the future of Sioux Falls food tours look like, Dana?
Well, last year we ventured out with a bus tour. So I have self-guided food tours as well. And so you just buy it and you go. And it gives you the map of where you're going and tells you what to order. And so you buy it if you order what I suggest you should order, which is always what you should order, um, then whatever the amount covers that amount, that item. Um, And so last year for Celebrate 605 days, 605 is June 5th, we did a bus tour to do my I-90 route. So we hit the five stops on the way out to the hills. So you can buy a self-guided tour, five stops on the way out to the hills. Um, it's going to take you about 8 hours to get to the hills, but you're going to stop and we're not going to stop at Wall Drug and we're not stopping at Al's Oasis. We are stopping at other places that you're not going to necessarily go to unless you follow my route. Um, so we did that tour last year. That was 3 days, five stops out. We did five stops in the Northern Hills the next day with four stops that evening downtown Rapid City. And then we did five stops back on I-90. So we hit 33 places in 3 days.
Incredible, incredible. So I actually grew up in Deadwood, so
Okay.
very familiar with some hideaways out there. But I love this. I love the idea as a musician and someone who has been around the block quite a few times. I have definitely found some of the out of the way places, and then that's what I stick to. So this is twofold for me. Maybe I'm running over some places that I've forgotten about, or I'm being introduced to brand new places that I've never even heard of or known that they were there. So I really love the whole thing is just great, and I love food. I mean, I didn't get to 240 by not being a food advocate, if you will. Also imbibing in a little bit too much beer too. That probably had a little bit to do with it.
I lost a little weight when I gave up drinking myself.
Yeah, well, it's funny how that happens, right? You forget about those calories when you're not eating them and you're just drinking them.
Yep.
Dana, how can we find you? How can people find you online and in person? And where can we get the self-guided tours?
So Sioux Falls Food Tours, our website, if you went siouxfallsfoodtours.com, it would redirect to our website. Our website is Sioux Food Tours, so SFFU Food Tours, which really sounds bad when you spell it out. Uh, that's like go to Sioux Falls Food Tours, you'll find us. But there you can buy the self-guided tours. You can jump on one of our Saturday tours. You can let me know if you want a private tour. Our bus tour, I don't have that up there, but that will be running again June 5th. This time we're going to go out Highway 14 and we're going to come back Highway 44. Uh,
Amazing.
so we're
It just
going to,
keeps expanding. And in another few years, you're going to have all of South Dakota mapped with incredible places to stop in and have a bite to eat. So I'm just thrilled that we got to chat today, Dana. Thank you so much for being on the show.
well, thank you so much for having me. This was awesome.
Yeah, well, Dana, I always say thank you for being part of the scene.